भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let's now pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Peter will lead us into an opening song on Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. Her birth anniversary is approaching soon, so let's have this beautiful opening song.
Tell me, Mother, who thou art. 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 When this world sore burns the heart, the loving light showers forth, showing us the way to go to find supreme bliss and truth. Is that why you came to us? Is that why you took this birth? Is this why you felt my pain and told the tale of birthless life? Tell me, Mother, who thou art. 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 Is that why the Master bowed at your feet with all his awe? Is that why he gave us you to find the peace no words can tell? Is that why saints crave to touch your holy feet that cleanse the mud? They humbly served your sublime life, all so pure and full of divine. Tell me, Mother, who thou art. 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 Longing for that blessed time, your shining face enlights the mind, sending darkness not to return. Come, Mother, bless your child. Come, Mother, take your child. Tell me, Mother, who thou art.
Thank you, Peter. We are privileged today to have Swami Satyamayananda from Vedanta Society of Hollywood to give this Sunday service. He has been staying for some time, about a month and a half or so.
About a month, and I'll stay another 15 days.
another 15 days, that's it, So, in Vedanta Society of New York, and then I requested him to come and give a Sunday lecture here, and he agreed. I like to torture people, So it is, he gave a lecture in the morning there in New York, finished it by 12, hurried through his lunch, hopped on the car, and now came here just after 4 o'clock, and now he is here. He will be speaking on many aspects of you. He joined the order in 1988 at Belur Math, but was immediately taken to or posted to Advaita Ashrama, where he stayed almost the
20 years.
20 years, yeah. He shouldered many responsibilities of editing and writing books. He was editor of the prestigious monthly journal Prabuddha Bharat for a good number of years. One of his books that I love is Charm of Mayavati. So about the center there in Himalayas, founded by Swami Vivekananda for the practice of non-dual Vedanta. So I am very happy that he has come and agreed to give this lecture. So he had his sannyasa in 1998. What? 1998, yeah. He joined the order in 88, but had sannyasa in 1998. And so we have him here to present today's Sunday sermon. So I request him, without wasting much time, to please begin with his oration. He is a very well-known and expert orator, and you will know, after all, how much I may give introduction, the taste, as they say, is in the pudding. So you will know when he speaks. All the wisdom will start flowing. So please, Swamiji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Salutations to Ramakrishna. It has been, as I entered here, I was feeling a kind of so surreal. I've been thinking of this place for years. I've heard of this place. And Yogatmanji, of course, I was acquainted with him, not intimately, but then we used to bump into each other often without any clashes. And to be invited here and to be standing here, was kind of, I was pinching myself in my room. Is this all real? So, thank you very much, Maharaj, for inviting me to be here. And for me, all these places are kind of a pilgrimage. I've been in the US for a little less than a year. I came here in Los Angeles on 10th December, so it's almost a year. So without much ado, I'd like to compliment you also on the wonderful, you can say, the many aspects of you. There are two we can see. But in Hollywood, you get all sorts of people. And somebody had come and was telling me about out-of-body experiences. And he kept on telling me, And I was so bored with that out-of-body experience of his. I said, you still do not know much about the mind as how Indian psychology sees it. Sometimes the subject becomes the object under certain stress or certain kind of factors. So this is your subject and his object, the mind object. Sometimes it reverses for a while and you feel you're out of your body. So he looked at me, really? Then immediately another person comes and says, well, this past life regression? I say, yeah, I heard of this. Is it true? Yeah, towards that. So do we go back to our past lives? I said, no. You go back to your memories, not to your past lives. You relive certain things. So this has to become very clear, since there are many aspects of you. We have many aspects within us which we are not aware of. So this past life experiences and this and that, you're just kind of going down those memory lanes. And the mind can be extremely deceptive. Yes, it is extremely deceptive. We've got to be very careful what we take as true and what we take as illusion. So this lecture I gave last week in a kind of a rehashed form at the Vedanta Society of New York. I'll kind of go through it. Some of New York friends are here, so they might not get bored. I'll try to make it interesting. We have all heard about narcissists. Who hasn't heard of narcissists? Because we are, in a way, narcissistic. We look at a mirror and then we preen or become depressed. Oh, what's that? I could have done better than this. But Narcissus was a youth. He was out hunting, separated from his friends. He was tired. He went down to a pool of water to slake his thirst. And there he saw his own reflection. And he fell in love with it, obviously. And he kept on gazing at this over and over. And he was so overwhelmed with his beauty, as they say. Yeah, he was beautiful, but then he kept on looking. And he didn't want to share his good looks with anyone else. He had suitors, of course, but then he was dying of thirst, but he kept on gazing at that water over and over. And then he takes a dagger and plunges it into it and dies there. You know that small white flower with the red, those spots, narcissus flowers, come from that. So there's always that old narcissist, a part of that narcissist in all of us. Yeah. Let's contrast this with another incident that happened in New York in a house which Swami Vivekananda had gone. There was Ellen Waldo, and that room had a mirror which extended from the floor to the ceiling, a long mirror. And Swami Vivekananda was pacing up and down that long mirror, looking at himself, turning away, once again pacing. And Ellen, his disciple, was so distraught. Well, she says, he's so full of personal vanity. Now the bubble is going to burst. And he turned and said, do you know, Ellen? I don't remember what I look like. When I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I see myself. When I turn away from the mirror, I don't remember what I look like. This is a tremendous statement. It shows how inadequate all our psychologies and philosophies are. How can a person look at himself or herself and then forget what he looks like or she looks like? This is what philosophy, Indian philosophy, tries to plumb. And I'll try to lay before you, or not attempt, lay before you some of the kind of aspects within us that hinder us or enhance us. So this is exactly opposite what Narcissus was experiencing. What exactly is this experience? We've all heard of there in each one of us are sub-clusters of personalities. We think that we have one personality. No. There are a lot of clusters of sub-personalities. And we are told that we need to integrate all these sub-personalities. Like here, I'm kind of saintly, but if I'm driving down the freeway, and then there's a road rage. So what happened to that saint there? Something else has taken over. So there are these aspects of us. So we need to kind of integrate our sub-personalities under our main personalities in order for our psychic, you can say, forces to become untrammeled. That's the idea. That's the reason why we are so dissipated, why we are so fragmented, why we are so broken. A word or a thought or something like simply lays us down flat. Why are we so fragile? We have also heard that there's something called a bipolar disorder. Oh, yeah. All knowing smiles. But many people don't realize that those are the extreme cases. Manic depressive cases are kind of extreme. There are a lot of medications to take care of this. But we all swing between manic and depression. None of us are ever still. Our mind does swing throughout the day or throughout the hour between activity and a little depression. Yeah. Then there's also the kind of disassociative, you can say, personalities, where one personality takes over the other personalities, language and impressions and everything, creates another one. Yes, it's kind of strange. Who does that? You do it. How? Subconsciously. Maybe because of stress, or maybe as a kind of escape or a defense mechanism, we are doing these things unknowingly. So this whole subconscious mind is not in our control at all. It, as it were, has a mind of its own. It's doing things what it likes. In Vedanta we say, hey, you see a rabbit and you see a deer with the antler, and when you dream you'll find the rabbit with the antlers. We know it's not possible. Who has kind of fixed such things up? Your own mind. Kind of scramble things up. Sometimes of course, dreams are a place where your memories are consolidated. It's always like that. If you don't sleep, your memories will not get consolidated. But there is also the scrambling that takes place. So we are all aware of all the contradictions in our lives, in our minds, in our bodies. This world is the world of contradictions. And we generally lay the blame on the world. Not my fault. Never. I'm so innocent. I'm so pure. I'm the victim of circumstances. No. You keep on pointing fingers. And if you can't get people, you can have imaginary people, imaginary things. Oh, you see, the devil told me. No, really. I'm not kind of joking, because a couple of days ago, I met a person who was saying, yes, so Swami, did the devil come and say? I said, what? You still believe in all these things? Devil? It's your own creation. There are no devils. Huh? No, how can it be? That person has laid all his blames and all his weaknesses on the door of the devil. Poor devil. So, we have the first aspect of us. No, we have 5 senses. We all Pancha Gyanendriya, they're saying here. 5 sensory organs. Yeah. But we shouldn't say that it's 5. There are 5 here that go outside, but there are 3 more which are inside. Yeah, that's important. Because as I am standing and we are all sitting here, your brain has to know where exactly your body is. Yes, it's proprioception. From the muscles, skeletal muscles and joints, they're constantly sending signals to the brain. This is where you are. If it wasn't for these proprioceptive nerves, you will be lost. Your brain will not know where the body is. Exactly. Then there's something called the brain has to know its physiological state, whether the body is hungry or thirsty. There are signals keep on going. It's called interoception. It's a homeostatic, you can say, factor that tells the brain these things are happening. If you're hungry, you're thirsty, there's a salt more in your brain than anything else. So these are all internal system, internal senses. The third is, as we know, it's called the vestibular. That's between. We take it for granted, but without that we would have toppled down, So these 3 senses gives us a sense of a body in time and space. Yeah, because you need to. This is your main aspect. Yeah. But the brain itself, it's wonderful. The brain lives in darkness. Do you know that? It's wet and squishy. And it's dark inside. Yeah. It's amazing. And yet you can see all this light and sound and everything. And who knows what's happening inside. Yeah. So, however, this is the first personality, the first aspect of you. That's kind of hardwired there. It's on this. Swami Vivekananda says, close your eyes and say, I. What appears in the mind? The sense of your own body, your own existence. This is your existence. Well, so much for the first part of the personality, the aspect of you. The second aspect, as we know, is the personality, the real you. You may have a body like this or like that or whatever, but the personality is quite a distinct entity there. Language and intelligence and emotions and culture and education, all these have gone to make a distinct you. In fact, that is really what you identify yourself with. You can't get away from the body, that's it. But this personality it's a dynamic play of the nature and nurture. We have been cultivating this personality. In the old days, persona was you wear a mask. In the Greek plays and tragedies and comedies, they used to wear a mask and wear a mask, and that was the persona. Of course, that old meaning still lingers in some areas, But personality is a collective, a combined everything about you. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your actions, your skills, your social skills, your intelligence, everything is you. It's a very dynamic place. We really can't put a finger on this personality. It's being created and recreated constantly. Yes. And the whole process of civilization or culture is to develop this personality. But we forget the whole thing and we keep on preening in front of the mirror like narcissists. Yeah. A person may be looking or appearing whatever, small or big or whatever, but that personality has been wrought through struggles, through trials, and through knowledge. Yes, each and every experience you go through, has gone to form your personality. That is the real you, as I say. Good for us. So it's like, we keep on building a personality till we die, of course. And of course, let's not go into it, but then this personality survives and keeps on moving on. And let that be the subject of a next topic, lecture, when Swami will invite me again.
Tomorrow?
So soon?
There will be continuity.
The third aspect I would like to lay, there are many who would dispute what I would like to present. It's a kind of a self-protecting response of the organism to the external world. It's a kind of immune response rooted in biology. And what is that? In a common layman's terms, it's called the kind of disgust mechanism. Okay. Bad food, anything bad odors makes you recoil. Why? Because down evolution, you were supposed to protect yourself from poisonous thing. You could eat something and you could fall sick or die. And anything reeking, rancid, rotten will kind of awaken this sense within you, this aspect within you. The reason is why you need to protect yourself from the germs. Simple as that. Yeah, otherwise those germs, they're creating all the trouble today. They may be small, but they are in the trillions and trillions and trillions. Actually, this world was made by them, those small things. Yeah. And it's made, and we are also made by them. If it wasn't for the biome, there in our gut, we would have all died. Yes. So, they are everywhere. They outnumber even the biological cells in my body. So actually the world is made for you and me. No. It's meant for all these bacteria. Be careful. So it is this immune response. If you look at it psychologically, what is it? It is bring us to a sense of what is good and bad, moral and immoral. The very basis of morality is this. We can abstract. You don't need a book, you don't need commandments. Don't tell lies, don't murder, don't steal. Do you need a book to tell you that? No. You learn it yourself. You know exactly what will happen if you do those things. We are not children. So we abstract, you can say, this sense from observing people's behaviors. We see all those things, There is something called, some Italian scientists, as well as even in San Diego, this V. Ramachandran, they speak about mirror neurons. There are neurons in the brain which act like mirrors. They reflect external behavior of people, and we learn from that. That's why we learn through observation. And then we abstract a sense of values, and we live by that. Okay. It's very important. It might seem kind of superficial, but it is essential for our own survival. Yeah. Physically, morally also. Because if you don't know the distinction between moral and immoral, we are getting into big trouble. Yeah. The fourth image is, this is, love this kind of aspect. You know, it's a kind of an ideal self within you. You know you have limitations, hundreds of limitations physically. Yeah. I could have been about 7 feet, and I could have played for the, the big basketball teams. Well, I couldn't. So what do? I wish I was 7 feet tall and I could play the basketball. Well, it wasn't. It's not going to be a real thing. But I can kind of have an ideal about that me. So what happens is I build a kind of a world, an ideal world, ideal me, an ideal aspect of me. The personality is limited, your physical, you can say, configurations are limited, but in this ideal aspect of us, we can be the best. Oh yes, the best. There's no one like us. This aspect has, again, two aspects, the objective and the subjective. Okay. The subjective is more like a kind of a superego. It's not really superego, Freud's superego, but it has a kind of a controlling mechanism on the other aspects. Like if you're going too far, it can, no, that won't do. You want to fly with your hands? No, that won't do. So the other objective side of this aspect is it's constantly renewing itself. I see a kind of in Hollywood you have these lot of stars, moving up and down. I see one person and say, oh, I wish I was like that. Then after a couple of days I see someone else, oh, I wish I was like that. There. So this aspect, the objective side, is constantly being kind of churned, renewed, and fine-tuned. While the subjective side is saying, no, that can be you. But each one of us has an ideal aspect, image of ourselves within us, what we would like to be. Yes. So, that much for this ideal image. There's another aspect. It's a derivative of this aspect, but it's a kind of a grandiose aspect. Yeah, in the whole world, I am the king. Of course, I don't believe in monarchy, I believe in democracy. But then, I could have said, I am the president or something like that. But I don't. I am the richest, I am the best. If I can sing one tune, I am the best singer in the world. If I walk like a sloppy kid, I've got the best poise, I've got the best carriage in the world. Everybody keeps on kind of glancing at me. The whole world kind of looks at me. I'm the cynosure of all eyes. This is my imaginary image, aspect of me. And there I am the happiest and the best. And I keep on retreating to this image whenever the world seems harsh and unfriendly. Yes, always. We retreat to there, I am the best. I am the king, I am the queen or whatever. Yeah. The only problem comes when this aspect deals in something which conventional society frowns upon, kind of sick things, And when we try to imagine, or we do imagine sick things which are not permissible in society or culture, that's the trouble. So, we have to curb that tendency to imagine sick things. It's okay, you have a grandiose image. You can't help it. You have to have it. So much for these various aspects. So many aspects of it. The many aspects, okay. Then, apart from all these things, what happens is, we have something called the autobiographical self. You are the same person you were yesterday. If there is no continuity, everything goes off. So what's going to happen? You are the same person you were a year ago. You were the same person 10 years ago. You are the same person, like Yogatman, you were telling us, 1988, he joined in 1990. Then I'm looking at, it was me who joined. Actually, it's not you. Everything about you has changed. Your physical configurations have all changed. All the material has been replaced. But yet, there is a kind of a continuity in memory. That is, I'm the same guy who was there. It helps you operate in a kind of a normal space. Otherwise, they say, who am I? People, there's a kind of a glamour in today's, I can't say word. It's been there for some time. Who am I? Who am I? They're saying, there are some books written, and some sages have said, find out who you are. So the person comes, who am I? So a guy had come to me, says, Swami, who am I? I looked at him. You want me to tell you that? Hey, you need to go to an asylum, or you better stop that. Who am I? You know who you are. Yeah. Who am I? Who am I? Why? Kind of a silly kind of question. Who am I? Who am I? Yeah. I said, it is okay with me. You don't go out and ask this. On the street, on the people, who am I? They might doubt your very sanity. So, stick to that self-inquiry quietly in your own room inside. But whenever we try to do this, who am I, you will get all these aspects arising within you, and you won't know who you are. But of course, that's that's another Vedantic discipline of entering. But if we are not ready for such discernment, we'll get caught up in the many aspects of you. So this is the autobiographical self. It has many aspects. I won't go into it. But then you can lose memory. Yeah. And we have seen in Alzheimer's and all these cases where progressively you keep on losing your memory and you lose yourself. Yeah. You forget your name, you forget the wife or the spouse whom you have lived for years and years and years, and it's a terrible, terrible state. So keep your memories safe and solid. Okay. So eat nicely and sleep nicely, and don't bother with it. Don't stress yourself. Who am I? Who am I? So what happens is, suppose there's a kind of a pickpocket. That guy will not be looking at anything else but pockets to be picked and purses to be picked. He'll watch you for a while and he'll understand this person is distracted, or he'll make some distractions, and there it's over. So like we are, like what we want, we see this world through these lenses. If you put a green kind of lens here, you'll see everything green. If you put a blue and red, everything. So these aspects are all like these lenses that we see this world. Our world is very limited by what we are. And we see only those things which we really like or we desire. Yeah, it's kind of very strange. Swami Vivekananda gives a kind of illustration. He's saying, you know how pearls are made. Kind of small irritant or some grain of sand or something enters into a mother of pearl, and the oyster throws a sort of enameling around it. It covers that grain of sand or that small irritant or parasite. So every time we see this world or want to experience it, you throw your own projections on this stimulus that's coming in. And you actually see what you are and what you want. You don't see the world as it is. We are encountering our own many aspects. That's a kind of wonderful. This is a kind of a world. We live really in a kind of a subjective world. So, I remember when we were young, in India we have these kind of fairs, various kind of entertainments, and we went into one room, we found that hall full of mirrors. And we went, oh. And some of the mirrors were kind of curved and some were kind of distorted, and we had a distorted image of ourselves. And this image was throwing it on that, and there was a loop of images created, and we were in the room of mirrors, and we were young, and we were laughing and joking. And we are actually living in a room of mirrors. The many aspects are like those mirrors. And loop after loop of mirror images are thrown out. We are busy, engaged with them. Can be otherwise. So how do you get out of it? Yeah. How do you get out of this? So out of the many aspects, which is real? Yeah, you got to find it out for yourself. So we need to give up the many images which are less real first. What happens in Swami Vivekananda says, you combine all the 4 yogas together. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raj Yoga. Why? Because you have these 4 faculties of devotion, of love, you have of work, of knowledge, and also of control. So instead of looking at those images reflected in that room of mirrors, which is creating an endless loop, why don't you see yourself reflected in people's eyes? Yeah. So if you're compassionate, you will see them radiating that love and the joy. You will be able to see yourself in a poor woman without any support. You will see yourself in the orphans and the destitutes and the homeless. You will see yourself in people who are weak. You will see yourself in people who are strong. Let's have a different choice of mirrors now. Let this whole world reflect you. And if you don't like what is being reflected in people's eyes and faces, change it. Smile, and you'll see people smiling at you. Be full of love, and you'll see people loving you. Many people come, oh Swami, nobody loves me. Oh really? Why don't you go and love people? Oh, no, people are so selfish. Oh, you mean you? If you love people, people will love you. Turn. I always give the kind of illustration. We are throwing plastics all over the place. That's the law of karma. And it's coming back to us, already come back to in the form of microplastics. It's everywhere, in our bodies, in the system, everywhere. So we thought we'll discard it and we are finished off with it. Nothing. It comes back to us. Yeah. So, what we throw out comes back to us. So we throw out a kind of a good image of ourselves, throw love and kindness and compassion and unselfishness, and you see the whole world around you changing. You see yourself reflected. You will get out of all the delusive aspects of yourself. Well, that is called karma yoga. Work. Work for others. Or work for the Lord. Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is kind of easy, you know. When you look at the mirror, you see yourself. That image is kind of, etched deeply in your subconscious. Bhakti yoga says that has to be replaced with that of your chosen ideal, whether it's Christ, or Buddha, or Ramakrishna, or Vivekananda, or Holy Mother. Keep on thinking and looking at this image and meditating and praying on that image. And slowly, your aspects are suffused with the aspect of the divine. You'll come out of this bondages. That's an easy way, no? And then we have something called Raja Yoga. What does the yogi do? Yogi or yogini do? First, he'll curb the tendency of the mind to go back to the past or imagine the future. That's what's called yoga. To keep your mind at all times in the present. And through willpower, that yogi or yogini succeed in keeping the mind. So that the tendency to reflect on the past or imagine the future is curbed. And that yogi's insight will show him or her where the mistakes were committed. And he or she will take those corrective measures. Simple as that. It will release a tremendous psychic energy out within you. And this is what we want. The personality becomes integrated. So that's the path of Raj Yoga. And the Jnana Yoga, well, the Jnana Yoga is kind of, it's like he or she enters in the room of mirrors, sees all those, and what does he do or she do? He'll go straight to the mirror and breaks them. Yeah. Short and sweet. But it needs tremendous courage to see all those, what you had fostered, what you had cultured, what you had nurtured for years and years and years, simply go. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage. But that's, of course, that's a Jnana Yoga. If we can do a combination of these, well, you're doing all the 4 yogas. What happens then? It is then that the real aspect of you will arise. Once Swami Turiyananda was kind of pacing up and down the terrace, the place where he was living, and he kind of depressed, pacing up and down. And then he looks up at the sky. The sky also is overcast. He keeps on looking at it. And after a while, the clouds blow off from the face of the moon. And the moon kind of shines brightly. And he was filled with hope and courage. Yeah, these things are kind of a cloud that comes over you. Once these are eradicated, or once they are shifted, the real you shines. And that is what we want. So, the many aspects of you, there is only really one real aspect of you. And that is, you are pure, you are eternal, you're omniscient. There was a queen called Madalasa. She was an ancient queen, and she used to, it's a long story to cut it shorter. She used to rock a child in the cradle. And then we sing lullabies, all these sleep, pretty darling, and do not cry, and all these things. You are the pure one. You are the omniscient one. You are the infinite one. She used to rock those babies singing this song. Tomasi Niranjan. So here, the child imbibes all these kind of teachings. There is always a prenatal influence of the mother on the child. Yes, it's very important. The mother does whatever she wants to, and then the child later on will do whatever he wants to. Why? He has learned from the mother. Simple as that. And he'll do it in spades, as I say. It's always like that. So, it's necessary to give a correct orientation to us, to the future humanity, to be on the right track, which will take us to reality, which will take us to blessedness, which will take us and make us immortal. So the queen used to rock that baby. That boy grew up and he became a monk and he left. The second baby also, she used to sing that. There you go. The third one also. And the king was annoyed. Weird. I'm not going to. At least we need one son who's going to take over. So, okay, and she wrote in a kind of small piece of paper. When you grow up, you read this. And then he grew up, he became a king, and he was sitting there. Then he said, oh, my mother had given me a kind of... He opened it. Tomasi Niranjan. Oh, you are the pure one. You are the stainless one. You are the infinite one. He also goes away. So we need to also be told. I don't think we are all beyond all knowledge. No. We all, Sri Ramakrishna to say, Yavat Bachi Tavat Shiki. As long as I live, so long do I learn. And he used to get so annoyed when somebody used to say, I know. Yeah. What do you mean you know? Nobody can say for certain that he or she knows everything about an atom. Can you find anyone? Any aspect, I took the smallest aspect of this universe. Nobody can say. The more you progress, the more you feel there are more dimensions to know and know and know. Swami Vivekananda gives the example of when you visualize a circle, you see the space within the circle. At the same time, you can also visualize the space outside the circle. Generally, we don't visualize that space, we ignore it. We watch our own space within us, that's narrow circle. We need now, with all these so many aspects which are contained in that circle, to also see something that's outside this circle of aspects. And you will see your own infinity. If you can see that, you are free. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
There is time for a few questions. If you want to ask questions, please. You can stand there.
Yeah.
Any questions? No, that's let it do. So no questions. You explained it so well. So nobody asked a question. Thank you. Oh, here he
there,
has a question.
there.
Yeah. Just because I said you have explained everything well, he raises the hand.
He'll challenge that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How to, the basics of meditation and so on, but how do you push it further and further?
You have Swami Yogatmanand.
You.
See, I've tried to deflect the question. How do you do? Through love. What you love, you can concentrate upon. If you can love what you're doing or the object you're meditating upon, that will help you concentrate. That will help you meditate. That will help take you further and further and further. So love that object. As easy as that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So many thanks, dear Satyamayananda ji. It was a lecture in a short time. He has packed so many wonderful thoughts about the many aspects of us, many aspects of you. I was listening very attentively, but I later got a bit confused which aspects of mine are listening. The aspects, many aspects of mine. So it is, thank you very much. The next, this coming Sunday, yes, Vishwanath, you can begin your offertory. Let me see, next Sunday, that is December 15. Again, I don't have a lecture on that day because we will have symposium. It is the birthday celebration of Holy Mother Sri Sarda Devi, and we have a whole day program, and one aspect of that program is a symposium on Holy Mother at 5 p.m. So you are all invited to join that day-long celebration or whatever part of it that you can join. So it is, and during the week, all the classes will go on as usual. The Tuesday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. we have Vedanta study classes. Tuesdays the topic is Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, and on Fridays it is Shvetashvatar Upanishad, but coming Friday it will be a video lecture on Shvetashvatar Upanishad, so you are welcome for that. There are regular morning and evening meditations open for everybody. You are welcome to join this. And today, after the Arati, there is a music concert. A very talented young santur player. There are not too many santur players, it's a difficult instrument, a 100-string hammer dulcimer like instrument, and the concert will be there in the basement. You are all invited to join that too. So let me conclude with the closing prayers. After that there will be Arati, and then one can proceed to the concert. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.